Good morning, and a special good morning to the children who are tuning in today. Now, hopefully the guys who put this video together have shown you a picture, or are about to show you a picture. And I'm going to talk a little bit about three things in this picture today. Hopefully you can make out what the photo is. The photo shows a bigger tree, a smaller tree, and a rope, a white rope that runs between the two. So hopefully you could see that in the photo. And I'm not sure about your family, but in our household, we've been making the most of lockdown by going out for a few more walks. So although most other things are closed, whether you go to the cinema, the bowling alley, to cafe, bars, these things are shut. So we've been forced into walking more and seeing more of the great outdoors. Probably your family has been the same. And whilst we were on one of these walks, we came across this scene, as you've seen in the photo. And I wonder if you can tell me what it's about. Perhaps you are much more clued up than I am about what's being shown here. I don't confess to be much of a gardener, to my shame. And what's going on in this photo? If I ask you that question, what's going on? So Millie and I were talking about it and thinking about it, and we came up with a few possible explanations. Is it that the connection is providing some kind of water or food for the smaller tree? Perhaps the larger tree is passing on food and water down the line into the smaller tree. Perhaps that's what's going on. Or is it, secondly, is it some kind of scientific reason? Is it passing on some kind of scientific information, passing from the bigger tree again to the smaller tree? Now again, I'm not much of a scientist nor a farmer, so when it comes to explaining these things, perhaps I'm a little bit naive. But the best explanation we could come to was that rope, that white rope, is connecting them for stability, for balance, and for support. So that when the rain comes, the storms come, and when the wind comes, the smaller tree is supported by the larger tree, that rope providing stability. So that again, when we are forced with a storm, the little tree can, although it's got the smaller roots, smaller branches, and a very thin trunk, can rely on the support of the bigger tree with massive branches, huge widespread roots, and a thicker trunk, that the small tree can rely on the support via the rope from the larger tree. Now can you tell where I'm going to go? Surely you can tell how I'm going to fit this into a Bible story. It got us thinking about the support of Jesus Christ. That the big tree, the thicker tree, the larger tree, representing God the Father in heaven, the one who created, who sustains all things. That from the very beginning in Genesis, we are told all things were good. All things were just as they were supposed to be from the beginning. God the Father, who created the birds of the sky, the animals of the ground, our bodies and the intricacies of our hearts, our brains, our veins, everything. God the Father created, and it was very good. And then the smaller tree, representing us as humankind, with our weaknesses, with the things we fail on the things we are broken, the mistakes we make. That small little tree, rocked by storms and the winds of life. And yet, the best part of the story, the rope that connects the two. Who is it? What is it? It's Jesus Christ, the man who came from heaven to live as a man for about 30 years. He knew what it was to be tempted by sin. He knew what it was to go through the things that we go through, the anxieties, the worry, the stresses. All these things he was able to comfort and still is able to comfort us today. He is that rope that runs between God the Father and us on earth, the weakness. He is the one that connects the two. So next time you go on a walk, and perhaps you even see this scene, perhaps you see a larger tree and a smaller tree and that rope, think how blessed, how good we have it that Jesus Christ, that go-between, the one who rescues, who supports, who provides stability, how good it is that we have him and we live 2,000 years later in the knowledge that we will always have the support of Jesus Christ. We will always have him covering our weakness, making right that what we've done wrong. And we thank him and give him the glory because he is very good. Very, very good. Amen.